Have you ever gotten into a rideshare car alone at night? Have you ever felt that heavy silence in the back seat, like something invisible was sitting there with you? What I'm about to share are 3 real stories sent by drivers and passengers who never should have accepted these rides. And if you think you've heard it all about strange Ubers, get ready, because this goes way beyond a bad ride. It goes beyond fear. It's as if these rides were scheduled by something that wasn't human. And if you're watching this right now from inside an Uber, please look into the rearview mirror, see if the driver has a reflection. Before we begin, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone who usually rides alone in an Uber. You might be saving someone, or maybe warning them too late. It was almost 3 a.m. when my phone buzzed with a notification from the app. Last ride of the night, I thought. I was already exhausted, my eyes heavy with sleep, and the repetitive playlist starting to irritate me. But the surge pricing was high, and the pickup point was close. That ride would wrap up the night nicely. The location was a dead-end street in a remote residential neighborhood where streetlights are scarce, and most houses have tall walls. I parked in front of the indicated address. No lights on, not in the house, not on the street, but the app already showed passenger on board. Strange, maybe they got in without me noticing. I checked the mirror. Nothing. Turned around. The car was empty. Before I could cancel the ride, the rear right door opened with a sharp click. I hadn't seen anyone approach. No footsteps, no shadow, but I felt the weight. The car sank slightly on the right side, like someone very tall and very thin had just sat down. I tried to catch a glimpse in the mirror, but the back seat seemed darker than the rest of the car, as if the light simply couldn't reach it. "Good evening," I said, trying to sound calm. Silence. "Destination Figueres Street, number 1105, right?" More silence. Then, a pale arm emerged from the darkness, thin, with fingers far too long to be normal. It just pointed forward. No words, just a gesture. That's when I made my first mistake. I put the car in gear and started to drive. The first thing that bothered me was the smell. Not exactly bad, but unnatural. An old, overly sweet perfume, like those dusty bottles forgotten on dressing tables in haunted mansions. And it was strong. It filled the car like invisible smoke, clinging to my throat. With every turn, every intersection, the arm would emerge again, pointing, always ahead, without hesitation. I had the GPS running, but I ignored it completely. Somehow, that silent gesture felt more commanding than any voice. We passed through areas I didn't recognize, even after years of driving in that city. Streets frozen in time, abandoned houses with boarded-up windows, flickering streetlights, and sometimes they didn't flicker, they just went out as we passed. At one point I noticed that the window where he was sitting was completely fogged up, as if there was a massive temperature difference, but the rest of the car was fine, neither hot nor cold, just that corner, like a frozen cocoon. My mind tried to rationalize it. Was he sick? Delusional? A lunatic with some condition? But inside something screamed, "This is no ordinary passenger." Then it happened. The GPS recalculated on its own. The app chimed. Alternative route suggested. But when I looked at the map, there were no roads on the route, just a straight line cutting through black void, as if I was being sent somewhere even the satellite didn't want to see. And the arm pointed forward, always forward. Once I took that suggested road, the city vanished behind me. No cars coming the other way, no signs, no side streets, just a stretch of cracked ancient asphalt flanked by dried trees that seemed to bend inward, forming a grotesque, suffocating tunnel. The radio turned on by itself, a soft hiss pulsating, and for a few seconds it sounded like voices. Not conversations, but whispers, like someone breathing words directly into another person's ear, way too close. It sent chills down my spine. I slapped the radio off. The hissing continued. The passenger still hadn't said a word, but then he started breathing loudly, slow, strained, almost painful breathing. I tried not to look in the mirror, but even without looking I knew he was getting closer. Suddenly my phone shut off. Not just the screen, the whole device died. The dashboard trembled, the interior lights flickered, and for the first time that night, I wanted to stop the car and run, but I couldn't. It was like something held my hands to the wheel. My muscles stiffened, my vision blurred. I felt heat on my neck. It wasn't sweat. It was like someone breathing there, like he had leaned forward just inches behind me. And then I saw it. The GPS reappeared, but it didn't show a map anymore. Just one word in red, distorted letters. Here. The car stopped by itself. I didn't hit the brakes. The wheels just locked as if caught in something invisible. The engine died in absolute silence. The kind of silence that makes your ears ache. The headlights still lit part of the road, but beyond that, only darkness. I looked in the rearview mirror. For the first time, I really looked. The seat was empty. The door still locked, windows shut. But no one was there. Nothing. No sign that anyone had been sitting there. Just a mark. A dark stain on the fabric. Damp, pulsing slightly, like a heart refusing to die. I turned my head slowly, as if my body knew what it was about to see before my mind could catch up. He was outside the car, standing right in front of the vehicle. Too tall to be human, long arms, his head covered by a tattered cloth that fluttered in the breeze. But there was no breeze. He just stared at me. Even without a face, I felt his gaze, a heat that pierced through the windshield like liquid fire. And then, he raised his arm. For the first time, he didn't point. He simply lifted both arms to the sky as if summoning something from above or below. The ground began to crack, not like an earthquake, quieter, more sinister. The cracks spread under the asphalt like black roots. When they reached the car, I heard it. "You have arrived." It wasn't spoken. It was injected directly into my mind. A total certainty. The ride was over. I woke up to the sound of a horn honking. I was parked on the shoulder of a busy highway, with the sun rising on the horizon. My car was turned off. The GPS looked normal again, as if I had never left the route. No sign of the dark road, the dead trees, the passenger. Just one detail, the back seat was soaked. And that same sweet, ancient smell was still there, now even stronger, nearly unbearable. Like it had embedded itself in the car's structure, or in my lungs. I tried to forget, tried to pretend it was a dream. Went home, showered, slept. The next day the app notified me. Trip completed, rate your passenger. But the name was gone, just a blank space. And then I started noticing small things. The rearview mirror would fog up, even with no one in the back. The app would open by itself, always at 3 a.m., with a ride request pending. And every time I got into the car, the back seat would sink slightly, as if someone was still sitting there. I sold the car, burned the upholstery, moved to another city, but I still wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of the rear door opening, that sharp, quiet click on the right side, always the right side. If you're a rideshare driver, beware of the last ride of the night. Not every passenger needs an invite to get in. Some were already waiting for you.
If you liked this story, click the link below and uncover even deeper horrors in our exclusive ebook.
It was an ordinary Tuesday. Nothing unusual in the city. No storm warnings, no strange news. Just another night driving through the streets, stacking rides and trying not to think too much about the loneliness of being behind the wheel after midnight. It was already past 2 a.m. when I got the notification. A pickup near a vacant lot on a dirt road behind an old abandoned country club, a place rumored to have hosted rituals and disappearances. Nonsense, I thought. But the strange part was, the ride showed up as automatically accepted. I hadn't tapped anything. The app just buzzed and showed me the route to the pickup point. On the screen, the message read, "Passenger waiting, ride confirmed." It was as if someone already knew I would accept. I don't know why, but I didn't cancel. It felt like something was pulling me there, like that ride was inevitable. As I approached the location, the surroundings began to change. Paved roads gave way to bumpy dirt paths. Trees arched overhead like skeletal arms, and the few houses around looked empty, frozen in time. Not a single soul. Not a sound, not even insects. The app said, 100 meters from pickup point. I glanced quickly at the passenger's name. And there it was. Unknown. Not like when the system hides names. It was there, clearly written with a capital U. Almost like a proper name, a nickname, a glitch. Then something even more disturbing. No profile picture, no rating, no history, as if that account had been created just for this ride. I parked at the exact spot. Ahead of me was a barbed wire fence surrounding the crumbling remains of the abandoned club. The gate was wide open, rusted, like a portal to something ancient and forgotten. I waited for a few minutes. That's when the car's headlights blinked, and on their own, like something had interfered with the system. And then, without anyone approaching, the front passenger door creaked open, slowly. But no one got in. It just stayed open as if it were waiting for something or someone. And the app? Passenger on board. I kept driving. The passenger door remained slightly open, creaking gently with every turn. I should have stopped, should have ended it all and gotten out. But my arms felt locked in place, my hands gripping the wheel like they were being controlled by invisible strings. The road led through paths that didn't exist on GPS. Still, the app's arrow pointed with unnatural precision, as if it knew every inch of this forgotten land. Until, after several minutes of absolute silence, the car stopped, on its own. In front of me, shrouded in mist and crooked silhouettes of rusted crosses, stood an old cemetery, the kind without walls, where graves sink over time and tombstones lean like bodies too tired to keep sleeping. My phone screen lit up with a new message, Final Destination, but the address field was empty. Only the passenger's name remained, Unknown. I tried to get out, tried to open the door, but it wouldn't move, neither mine nor the passengers. The car was sealed from the inside like a freshly closed coffin. Then I felt the passenger seat sink, slowly, as if someone or something had finally entered. And in that moment, for the first time, I smelled wet earth mixed with the stench of rot, like the air beside me had been sucked straight from an open grave. My body froze. Then the radio turned on, but there was no music, no static. It was my own voice, recorded, screaming. My voice kept playing on the radio, but it sounded like a warped recording of me screaming incoherent phrases, begging for help. And every second, it layered upon itself, each scream higher, sharper, until it became a deafening screech. I covered my ears, but the sound was inside my head. And then, everything stopped. Time simply froze. The wind stopped blowing. Leaves on the ground stood still. The car's headlights froze mid-beam like a snapshot. And yet, the car moved. Slowly, as if being towed by unseen hands. The passenger door, which had been creaking, now shut with a sharp snap. That's when I saw it. Sitting beside me was no human. Not exactly. It was a translucent figure wrapped in tattered shreds of cloth that seemed to float inside the car. The face had no eyes, just taut skin stretched where features should have been. And even without eyes, I felt it staring, not with curiosity, but hunger. It turned its head slowly toward me, and finally, it spoke, but not with a mouth. The voice came like an echo inside my skull. You accepted. That's when I realized this wasn't a ride. It was a pact. The voice vanished. The world flickered. When I came to, I was parked again in the city center, in front of a well-lit square, full of people walking, cars passing. Normal life, as if nothing had happened. But something was wrong. Deeply wrong. The time on the dashboard read 3 a.m. sharp, and it wouldn't move. The clock was frozen. I restarted the system, turned the car off. Nothing worked. For me, time had stopped. I grabbed my phone. The Uber app was disconnected. A message popped up. Unable to locate driver. Account does not exist. I tried logging in. The account was deleted. Not banned, not suspended. Deleted like it had never existed. My ride history? Gone. No trips. No passengers. It was like I had never been a driver. Like the system itself refused to acknowledge I had ever been there. In the days that followed, I tried to go back to normal, but the sense of not belonging to reality anymore only grew. I began forgetting basic things, addresses, names. Even my dreams felt faded, washed out. And every night at 3 a.m., I received the same notification. A pending ride. Passenger, unknown. I've never accepted it again, but I don't know how much longer I can resist. And if you by any chance are logged into your driver app, be careful. If a ride shows up as automatically accepted, don't go. Because it's not just a trip, it's a calling. And not everyone who enters the car wants to leave. I've always been obsessed with perfection. From my very first day as a rideshare driver, I made sure my car was spotless, the AC set to the ideal temperature, cold water bottles in the cup holder, and a carefully curated playlist to suit every taste. My rating was 5.0. Perfect. And I would do anything to keep it that way. Praise plenty. Tips frequent. Complaints none. Because I wasn't just giving rides, I was delivering an experience. But perfection comes at a price. And mine began to be collected on a rainy night when I accepted a ride to a rural neighborhood way off the grid. The passenger had a name, a photo, and a perfect 5-star rating too, a flawless profile. But when I arrived at the address, there was only a dirt road and a half-open iron gate. The ride already showed as in progress. I looked around. Nothing. No sound. No lights. And yet, the back seats sank under the weight of someone. And the app notified me. Automatic rating 5 stars. In that moment, I should have declined. But perfection doesn't accept rejection. The first few rides after that night seemed normal, but something began to change. Regular passengers started acting different. Some stared at me in the mirror without saying a word. Others got in the car and simply didn't breathe. This wasn't paranoia, I felt it. The seat didn't shift when they sat. No scent of perfume or sweat, no fog on the windows. And yet, the app showed the name, the face, the ETA. Everything normal, everything perfect. Then a woman got in, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, her skin so pale it looked like wax. She looked me in the eyes and said, "Thank you for maintaining excellence. Most don't last this long." Then she smiled. A dead, frozen smile that didn't match the movement of her face. That's when I noticed she had no reflection in the mirror. The whole time I pretended everything was fine, that they were just weird people. But the more I ignored the signs, the worse things became. In the app's driver center, I began receiving automated messages like, "You've been selected for premium rides. Keep delivering excellence." And the rides always took me to isolated places, streets where the houses were in ruins, locations not registered on any map, and the passengers, more silent each time, more dead. But all of them, without exception, left 5-star ratings, and I kept accepting, because my rating was still 5.0. And deep down, I already knew this wasn't just about rides anymore. It was about keeping perfection, no matter the cost. I started noticing a pattern. 3, 4, 5 times a week, the same address showed up in my ride requests, Black Cedar Street, number 303. A place not even Google Maps recognized, but the app accepted it. Always with different passengers, varied profiles, but all with perfect ratings. All rating me before the ride even ended. The first time, I thought it was coincidence. The second, a red flag. The third, a warning. But I kept going. Every time I got there, it was night, always night. Even if I left during the day, the sky around that house was eternally dark, covered in thick clouds and wind that whispered my name. And something became routine. Someone was always waiting before I arrived. I never saw anyone walk to the car. They just were there, standing still, unmoving. They got in without a word, without breathing, without moving. Then, one night, an old man in a hooded cloak entered the car with a slight nod. I smiled, automatic, professional, and asked, "Good evening. Is the destination correct?" He slowly turned his face toward me. His eyes were dull, bloodshot, and the voice that came out was like scratched glass. "Tonight, you'll be rated. For real." The car sped up on its own. My hands were on the wheel, but I wasn't in control anymore. The dashboard flickered, the speed climbed, and the old man in the back began murmuring words in a language I'd never heard before. Yet somehow I understood. Each word made my body tingle like electricity running up my spine. And then he said, You have been scored with precision. I looked in the mirror, and I saw something impossible. All my previous passengers were there, in the back seat, cramped together, faceless shadows, holding their phones, all displaying my driver profile. And there was the rating. But it wasn't 5.0. It was infinity. A pulsing symbol, spinning, as if the score had surpassed all human comprehension. Then the old man placed a hand on my shoulder and said, "Now we take your final ride." The app screen went black. The radio burst into a deafening scream. The car veered into a road that didn't exist, a dirt path winding through dry trees, where time no longer moved, where reality melted. And there on the horizon, a light emerged. Not headlights, an opening, a spinning portal devouring everything. And the car was pulled toward it faster and faster, and me trapped, driving straight into the unknown. I never saw the car go through the portal. I only remember the sound. A muffled noise like 1,000 voices whispering in agony, followed by absolute silence. And then, the road. An endless dark road with no signs, no edges. There is no GPS here, no time. Just an infinite string of rides and passengers without faces, just shadows that enter and exit without saying a word, without leaving a trace, without remembering they'd been here before. I keep driving. Every night somewhere in the world the app shows someone a pending ride. And when they accept, it's me who shows up. My car, my face, my perfect rating. And everything seems normal until it's not. Because I'm no longer driving in any city. I drive between worlds, a place where perfection is eternal, where each passenger rates me with silence, and every ride is just one more step toward never returning. If one day you get into a car that feels a little too perfect, cold AC, flawless music, and a driver who never blinks, be careful. Look into the rearview mirror. If you can't see your own reflection, it's already too late.
If you like this story, click the link below and uncover even deeper horrors in our exclusive ebook.
3 stories, 3 drivers, 3 rides that should never have been accepted. A normal night, a silent passenger, a simple tap on the app, and everything changes. Did you notice the pattern? It doesn't matter the city, the car, or the driver. These entities, these beings, no longer use portals, ancient books, or bloody rituals. They use GPS, the app, and wait patiently for the next person who accepts without thinking. Maybe you've already crossed paths with one. Maybe you've already taken a ride with something that didn't belong to this world. Or maybe you're the next one to accept the wrong ride. The question is, do you trust the destination on the screen? Or are you just being led exactly where they want you to go? If you like these stories, click the link below and uncover even deeper horrors in our exclusive ebook. But be careful. Some stories don't end when the video does.
If you're still here, it means something inside you wants more. More fear, more darkness, more stories that should never be told. So scroll down, but do it carefully. In the pinned comment, there's a link to an exclusive ebook filled with horror stories so deep, some readers chose not to finish them. But you're not like the others, are you? Click, read dot, and then try sleeping with the lights off, if you can. ***.